Hi everyone, I'm a member of UCI team in TrueChip. Today in this webinar, I'm going to present the PPT for UCI. So let's start with the introduction. UCI, which is called Universal Chiplet Interconnect Express, is an open industry standard interconnect offering high bandwidth, low latency, power efficient, and cost effective on package connectivity between chiplets. It addresses the projected growing demands of compute, memory, storage, and connectivity across the entire compute continuum spanning cloud, edge, enterprise, 5G, automotive, high performance computing, and handheld segments. UCI provides the ability to package dies from different sources, including different fabs, different designs, and the different packaging technologies. UCI supports variety of protocols and data rates, error detection, and correction features. And UCI can also be used for off-package interconnection using UCI retimer. So here is the UCI module. So this allows two different packaging options, which are the first one is standard package and the second one is advanced package. So the standard package, this packaging technology is used for low cost and long reach, which interconnects using traces on organic package substrate while still providing significantly better BER characteristics compared to off-package certs. So this is the standard package interface. And the second package, which is advanced package, this packaging technology is used for performance optimized applications. Consequently, the channel reach is short and the interconnect is expected to be optimized for high bandwidth and low latency with best performance and power efficiency characteristics. So here are some examples for advanced package interface. So here are the UCI components. So UCI has three layers. The first one is protocol layer, second one is die-to-die adapter layer, and the third one is physical layer. So the protocol layer, which maps PCI and CXL as well as any streaming protocol, or we can say the user-defined protocol or vendor-defined protocol. And the second layer, which is called adapter layer, which provides a low latency optimized path for protocol flits which are coming from the protocol layer. And the third layer is physical layer, which has two types of connections, or we can say it has two interfaces. The first one is sideband, which is used for parameter exchanges, register accesses for debug, compliance, and coordination with remote partner for link training and management. And the second interface, which is main band, which is the main data path of UCI from which the main fleet will be transmitting. So UCI also have these two interfaces. So the first one is raw D2D interface, which is also called RDI interface, which is an interface between the physical layer and the adapter layer. And the second interface, which is called FDI interface, so fleet aware D2D interface, which lies between the D2D adapter and the protocol layer. So let's have a brief description about the layers of the UCI. So the first one is protocol layer, which is responsible for generating all types of flit formats. Protocol related features are kept separate from flit formats and packetization. Protocol layer transfer the flits to the adapter layer after the completion of the FDI bring-up. So here are the operating formats which are supported by the protocol layer for different modes. So let's have a look for PCI mode. So these are the formats which are supported for PCI mode, and these two formats which are enhanced in UCI 1.1. And similarly for the CXL 256 byte fleet mode, here are the formats and these two formats which are added in UCI 1.1. And similarly for CXL 68 byte fleet mode and for streaming protocol. And these three formats which are added in UCI 1.1 for streaming protocol. So here we can see the protocol mapping. So in this table we can see that these which flit formats are supported by which flit mode or optional for which flit mode or which are not supported by these flit modes. So let's have an example for raw flit format, which is mandatory for streaming protocol but optional for rest of these flit modes. And similarly for 68 byte flit format, which is mandatory for PCI non-flit mode and CXL 68 byte flit mode, but it's optional for streaming protocol and it is not supported by the PCI flit mode and CXL 256 byte flit mode. So the second layer, which is adapter layer, which do the handshaking with physical layer, which is called RDI bring up, and with the protocol layer, that is called FDI bring up. And this is also, and the adapter layer is also responsible for doing the parameter exchanges with its remote link partner to finalize the capabilities whether which format will be transmitting. So here are some features which are supported by the adapter layer, and these two features which are enhanced in UCI 1.1. So the first one feature, that adapter layer supports multiple stacks with enhanced multi-protocol enable negotiation, and it supports capability negotiation between link partner and remote link partner. So these are the functionalities in die-to-die adapter. So we can see here that these three layers of UCI, where the first layer is protocol layer, the second layer is die-to-die adapter layer, and the third one is physical layer. So we can see that the protocol layer and die-to-die adapter layer are connecting through this interface, which is called FDI interface. And we can see that the adapter layer and physical layer are connected through this interface, which is called RDI interface. And here are some features of die-to-die adapter, and these features are for physical layer, which we'll be discussing in next slides for the physical layer. So here are the format details. So our first format is RAW format, which is mandatory for streaming protocol and optional for other protocols, as we have already seen in the protocol mapping table. And this mode is supported where retry is not required, because raw format is transmitted to layer to layer without any modification, so their retry is not required. So the second format is 68-byte flit format, which is mandatory for CXL 68-byte flit mode protocol or PCI non-flit mode, and optional for streaming protocols. And retry is also performed over this 68-byte flit. When the transmitting adapter has no flits to send, it terminates the data stream with a pose of data stream token. The PDS or pose of data stream token is a variable size flit that carries a 2-byte special flit header. So here we can see the flit format for 68-byte, and we can also see the example for pose of data stream token. So here's the information about the flit header for format 2 when retry is not supported. So these are the 2 bytes of flit header which are added by the adapter layer or protocol layer in the flit format. Here we can see these 2 bytes are flit header. So the byte 1 is completely added by the adapter layer, but byte 0 is added by the adapter layer as well as protocol layer, where these 2 bits 7 down to 6 are added by the protocol layer, which tells us about the protocol identifier, and rest of the bits are added by the adapter layer, where this 5th bit tells us about the stack identifier, whether which stack will be transmitting, and the 4th bit tells us whether it is regular flit header and pose of data stream flit header, and the rest of the 4 bits are reserved. So here we can see these 2 bits 7 down to 6 are populated by protocol layer. So if these 2 bits are 00, then the protocol will be D2D adapter knob flit or PDS flit. And if these bits are 01, then it will be CXL.IO flit, and if it's 10, then it will be CXL.cache mem flit, and if it's 11, then it will be arbitration and mux flit. Similarly, we can see for the streaming protocol, these 2 bits which will be populated by the protocol are defining the protocol identifier, and this byte which will be populated completely by adapter layer, where this 7th bit telling us whether it is regular flit header or pose of data stream flit header, and the rest of the bits are reserved. So similarly, we can see the flit header information for format 2 when retry is supported. So these are the 2 bytes of the flit header. So where we can see these 2 bytes are telling us about the protocol identifier, stack identifier, ACNAC information, and similar for the streaming protocol. So here's the format 3, which is standard 256 byte flit mode for PCI 6.0. So which is renamed in UCI 1.1 as standard 256 byte and header flit format for PCI, which is mandatory for PCI flit mode and which is optional for streaming protocols. And protocol layer also transmits this 6 byte of DLLP, which will be inserted in the flit format by the adapter layer, where 2 bytes will be flit header and rest of the 4 bytes will be DLP. So here we can see that DLP0 and DLP1 are replaced with the flit header. As we can see here, these 2 bytes are flit header and are driven by the UCI adapter. And FDI provides a separate interface for DLLP transfer from the protocol layer to the adapter. So here's the format 3, which is enhanced in UCI 1.1, which is standard 256 byte end header flit format for streaming protocol. And this mode is optional for streaming protocol. And we can see the information of flit header for format 3 without retry. So here we can see these 2 bytes and the information for these 2 bytes. And similarly for the PCI and similarly for the streaming. And here the information of flit header for format 3 when the retry is supported. So this is the format 4, which is standard 256 byte flit mode for CXL.CacheMem, which is renamed in UCI 1.1 as standard 256 byte start header flit format for CXL.CacheMem, which is mandatory for CXL 256 byte flit mode and which is optional for streaming and PCI flit mode. And this is the one more format for format 4, which is standard 256 byte flit mode for CXL.io, which is renamed in UCI 1.1 as standard 256 byte start header flit format for CXL.io, which is mandatory for CXL 256 byte flit mode and optional for streaming protocol and PCI flit mode. So here we can see the information for flit header for format 4 when retry is not supported, and it's the information of flit header for format 4 when retry is supported. So here's the format 5 and 6, which is latency optimized 256 byte flit mode for CXL.io, which is renamed in UCI 1.1 as latency optimized 256 byte without optional bytes flit format for CXL.io, and this mode is mandatory for CXL 256 byte flit mode. And here's one more format, which is latency optimized 256 byte flit mode for CXL.CacheMem, and it is renamed in UCI 1.1 as latency optimized 256 byte with optional bytes flit format for CXL.CacheMem, and this is mandatory for CXL 256 byte flit mode. And this format 5, which is enhanced in UCI 1.1, that is latency optimized 256 byte without optional bytes flit format for CXL.CacheMem and streaming protocol, which are optional for CXL 256 byte flit mode and streaming protocol. And this one is also enhanced in UCI 1.1. So this is latency optimized 256 byte with optional bytes flit format for CXL.io, which is strongly recommended for PCI flit mode, CXL 256 byte flit mode and streaming protocol. And this one format 6 is also enhanced in UCI 1.1, which is latency optimized 256 byte with optional bytes flit format for streaming protocol, which is strongly recommended for streaming protocol. So let's have a look on CRC. So CRC cyclic redundant checks of 16 bits is computed over 128 bytes of the message. So CRC of 2 bytes will be added by the transmitting adapter layer over every 128 bytes in the flit, and the receiving adapter layer will be removing the CRC. So here we can see the CRC calculation diagram, which is telling us how the CRC is calculated and added in the main flit through the adapter layer. So here's the retry mechanism. So retry mechanism of UCI is a simplified version of retry mechanism of PCI. So here are some features. So let's have a look on these features. Selective NAT and associated rules are not applicable for UCI. All 10-bit PCI retry related counters are replaced with 8-bit counters in UCI. Replay timeout flit count is a 9-bit counter. NAC withdrawal allowed is always set to 0-bit. Idle flit handshake phase is not applicable for this. Sequence number handshake phase is applicable for UCI, and normal flit exchange phase is applicable for UCI. So here's the arbitration and muxing. So in this first diagram, we can see that the protocol layer is transmitting a flit to the adapter layer, and adapter layer is transmitting it to the next layer. And in the second diagram, we can see that the protocol layer has 2 flits, which are only supported by the CXL mode. So here we can see that the first fleet is CXL.io and the second fleet is CXL.cachemem. So for this, the adaptive layer will be performing arbitration and muxing to decide whether which fleet will be transmitting first through the adapter layer. And here in the diagram third, we can see that the protocol layer has two stacks and each stack having two flits which are only supported by the CXL mode. So in the adapter layer, first the arbitration and muxing process will be processing to decide whether which flit will be transmitting first, and after that stack muxing will be taking place to decide whether which stack will be transmitting first through the adapter layer to the next layer. So here is a feature which is enhanced in UCI 1.1, that is two stacks multiplexed with enhanced multi-protocol enable negotiated. So here we can see that the protocol layer having two stacks, but some scenarios are enhanced in UCI 1.1 where both stacks can have similar or different protocols. So here we can see the scenarios for different protocols. Uh, both stacks are PCI, both stacks are CXL, stack 0 is PCI and stack 1 is streaming, stack 0 is streaming and stack 1 is PCI, or both stacks are streaming, stack 0 is streaming and stack 1 is CXL. So the third layer of UCI, which is physical layer, that do the handshaking with the adapter layer, which is called RDI bring up, and after the which is due after the completion of training with its remote link partner. Logic 5 implements the link initialization, training and calibration algorithms and test and repair functionality. Here are some features which are supported by the physical layer. So physical layer support for 4, 8, 12, 16, 24 and 32 giga transfer per second data rates, and its support for advanced and standard package interconnects, and physical layer support for clock and power gating mechanism, and valid framing, link initialization and training, UCI package module and retimer. So let's have a look on valid framing. Valid signal is used to frame the transmitted data. For each 8-bit data packet, the valid is asserted for the 4UI and deasserted for 4UI. So here we can see in this diagram that for 2 clock cycles the valid is high, and for 4UI, so we can say for 4UI the valid is high, and for the next 4UI or 2 clock cycles the valid is no. So for every 8 UI, 1 byte will be transmitting. So here's the UCI module. The UCI physical interface consists of building blocks called modules. There are two types of modules. First one is advanced package module. Second is standard package module. So this is the advanced package module and this is standard package module. So the advanced package module supports cross 64 lanes, or we can say that the data is transmitted through 64 lanes, or it can also be and it can also support cross 32 lanes. And the standard package module that supports cross 16 lanes, or the data is transmitted through 16 lanes. So here we can see that for main band 64 data, 2 clock, 1 valid and 1 track, and for the sideband data and sideband clock. And for the standard package module we can see 16 data, 2 clock, 1 valid and 1 track, and it have sideband data and sideband clock. And also the advanced package module supports the redundant lanes and redundant clock, but the standard package module does not support the redundant lanes and redundant clock. So here's the retimer, which is used for fleet transfer across the off-package interconnect. Resolution of link and protocol parameters with remotely retimer partner to ensure interoperability between UCI die end-to-end. Here we can see this UCI die 0 and UCI die 1 are connecting to each other through this off-package interconnect. So the UCI retimer is being used here for the communication of these UCI die 0 and UCI die 1. So here we can see that UCI retimer 0 is connected to the UCI die 0 and UCI retimer 1 is communicating to the UCI die 1, and these two off packages are interconnecting with each other through this off package interconnect. So here's the UCI link initialization, which is the complete UCI flow, where the first stage reset flow for die 1 and reset flow for die 0 and for die 1. So from the stage 1 the UCI flow will start, where the stage 1 is sideband initialization, second stage is training parameter exchanges on sideband mainband training, and the third stage which is protocol parameter exchanges on sideband. And after the completion of stage 3 the protocol layer will start transmitting the FLIT. So the first stage, which is physical layer link training, where there are some stages, where the first stage is reset, then it will then the physical layer will move to SB init state, then MB init, then MB train, then link init, and then finally it will physical layer will move to active state. So here are the state description. So the first state, which is reset state. So physical layer must remain in reset for a minimum of 4 milliseconds upon every entry to reset. And after moving from reset, the physical layer enters in SB init state, which is sideband initialization. So the sideband initialization procedure is performed at 800 mega transfer per second with 800 megahertz sideband clock. Sideband initialization state, where the sideband is detected, repaired, and out of reset message is transmitted. And then the physical layer will move to MB init state. So mainband clock is set to the slowest input output data rate, which is of 2 GHz for 4 giga transfer per second. Following sideband initialization, mainband is initialized at the lowest speed. Both dies perform on die calibration followed by interconnect repair. So these are some substates of mainband initialization. So after going through these substates, the physical layer will move to MB-train state. So we can see that MB-train state has also has some substates. Going through these substates, the physical layer will move to link init state. And one thing is also there, that each state will perform a operation. So here are the 4 basic operations. So each substate of MB-train will be performing one operation out of these 4 operations. So the next state, which is link init state, where RDI and FDI bring up takes place, and this state is also used to exchange adapter and link management messages. And after this state, the physical layer will move to active state, which is the state in which transactions are sent and received. And physical layer also has these 2 layers, which are power management states, and the phi retrain state, which is used to begin the retrain flow for the link during runtime. And the train error state is entered when a fatal or non-fatal event occurs at any point during link training or operation. So let's have a look on sideband packets. Sideband link is to provide a out-of-band channel for link training. It also provides interface for sideband access of registers of the link partner. It is also used for link management packets and parameter exchanges with remote link partner. Adapter forwards a remote die sideband access over RDA to the physical layer. The physical layer is responsible for framing and transporting sideband packets over the UCI link. And the sideband packets include register access requests, completions, or messages. So here are some types of sideband packet. So the first one is register accesses, second is messages without data, and third is messages with data. So every packet carries a 5-bit opcode, a 3-bit source identifier, which is also called source ID, and a 3-bit destination identifier. The 5-bit opcode indicates the packet type as well as whether it carries 32-bit of data or 64-bit of data. So as we can see in this table, opcode encodings, where it will where through the opcode it will be decided whether it is the 32-bit data or 64-bit data. And we are also having these tables for the source ID and destination ID for FDI sideband, for RDI sideband, and for UCI link sideband. So here's the FLIT format for a register access request, in which source ID, tag, BE, EP, opcode, DP, CP, CR, destination ID, and address all are present, and it is also having the data which can be of 32 bits or 64 bits. Similarly, this is the FLIT format for register access completions. And this is the format for message without data payload. So we can see here the data is not present in this FLIT format, and for the message with data payload, so in this format the data is also present of 64 bits. So after the completion of physical layer link training, RDI bring up will be started, and which will be started by the physical layer to the adapter layer, and which will be performing for the removal of clock gating. So here is the RDI bring up flow. So after the completion of stage 2, which is the physical layer link training, the RDI bring up will be starting, and after the RDI status will moving in the active state, the RDI bring up will be completed, and the stage of parameter exchanges will be starting. Here we can see the RDI state machine, where the RDI bring up will be firstly be in reset state, and then when it will move in active state, the RDI bring up will be completed. Here we can see the TrueChip's RDI bring up waveform, where we can see these signals which are performed during the RDI bring up. So after completion of RDI bring up, parameter exchanges takes place. So here we can see the parameter exchanges for different modes. So firstly we can see for the PCI mode, where adapter layer of die 0 and die 1 are communicating to each other through these messages which are sending in the packet form. So this is the final message which finalizes the capabilities, whether which format will be supported for the transmission through the protocol layer. So these are the parameter exchanges for CXL mode. So these are some parameter exchanges which are enhanced in UCI 1.1. So here are some scenarios for the parameter exchanges for different modes. So when both stacks are PCI, both stacks are CXL. When stack 0 is PCI, stack 1 is streaming. Stack 0 is streaming, stack 1 is PCI. And when both stacks are streaming and stack 0 is streaming, stack 1 is CXL, then these messages will be transmitting between the adapter layer of die 0 and die 1. So after the completion of parameter exchanges, the RDI bring up flow will be started. So adapter layer will start the RDI bring up flow to the to the protocol layer, which is performed for the removal of clock gating. So after the completion of FDI bring up, the protocol layer will start transmitting the FLITs. So here we can see the FDI bring up flow, which will be started after the completion of stage 3, which is parameter exchanges. So after the FDI moving to the state active, the FDI bring up will be completed, and the protocol layer will start transmitting the FLIT. So here's the FDI state machine. And this is the TrueChip VIP FDI bring up flow, where we can see all the signals that are performed during the FDI bring up. So let's have a look on TrueChip VIP transaction logs and waveforms for different FLIT formats. So this is for the raw format. This is the transaction log for raw format, and these are the waveforms for raw format. So here we can see the transaction log on waveforms for different FLIT modes. So let's talk about benefits and requirements. So mapping for all protocols are done using a FLIT format, including the raw format. Allows two different packaging options, which are first one is standard package, which is used for low cost and low reach, and the second is advanced package, which is used for performance optimized applications. The channel reach is short for this package. To increase bandwidth, UCI support for multi-module, ensures interoperability and keeps latency down, enables repairs through redundant lanes. A UCI retimer may be used to extend the UCI connectivity beyond the package using an off-package interconnect. So, two additional requirements for ensuring success in your UCI-based multi-die system: ensure interconnects perform as expected through testing, and employ a silicon lifecycle management strategies. Thank you.